All right, hello everybody. Welcome, week 2, Psychology of Play. My name is John Morton, and I am going to be talking to you a little bit about a couple different topics today. The first one that I want to talk about is flow. So that's where we're going to be starting. Is everyone able to hear and see? You should see my screen. It should say flow. I hope everyone is able to before. Just want to make sure. Okay, how's everybody liking the class so far? Everyone enjoying themselves? Just for the purpose of this class, feel free to jump into the text box. I'm always happy to see that. Or if you want, you can always there's a hand raising function. If you want to raise your hand, I can unmute you. We can call on people. People can talk. All sorts of different ways we can interact. But I just like everyone to you kind of know what's going on. You can kind of know what to expect. All right, so to get into it, flow is one of the kind of big things that we talk about in this class. The idea behind flow is basically it's almost like a deeper level where we engage on a different plane. As we go through, you'll see a little bit more. I'll continue along and. This is kind of a good way to look at it. It says, the best moments in our lives are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times. The best moments usually occur if a person's body is moving, is in flow, is doing something. Kind of the definition for it is a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience is so enjoyable that we'll continue to do it. And this can be any sort of thing. I know that a lot of times I like to use examples. Extreme sports are a great example. That seems to come up a lot. People, it's kind of a fun thing to reference back to. You kind of listen to interviews with extreme athletes, and they're very, they're keyed in. They know what's going on. They're very in the zone. Maybe another word for flow is kind of being in the zone. But kind of everything else kind of fades away when you're in a flow state. Does anyone have something like that in their life where they're like, when I engage in this activity, I really just like I get locked in and that's my big thing that I do, and also want to share about it? Writing, music, playing video games, creating music, video games again. Yeah, absolutely. I I like to think about flow states, in a lot of different ways. Yeah, I mean, for you said writing was one of the big ones. I think that we start writing, we get kind of involved in, if we're doing creative writing, we get involved in maybe the environment that we're writing about. Pokemon Go, yeah, I think everyone's getting in pretty deep with that right now. But right, when Patricia, yeah, you're in another world when you're writing your characters. They go on adventures, you follow, you write it down. Yeah, you really can be fully immersed in the activity. If it's creative activity, it seems like it's almost easier to get into. But unfortunately, yeah, your phone won't support Pokemon Go. That's no fun. I've heard that complaint from a few people so far. And also people said video games. I have one of my buddies. When we were younger, he would, he would get really into some of the games he was playing. He was playing first person shooter, and he would end up staying up all night playing the game. And like, I've had that same experience of playing a game, and I get really heavily involved in it, and I look up and hours have gone by, and I'm just like, where did the time go? What happened? That's definitely kind of one of the things that goes along with flow. You know, some of the kind of things that go along with flow. It says flow, a state of consciousness when people find genuine satisfaction. So right, kind of the senses that we go along with timelessness. That's one of the big ones. When you can start doing something and you float off mentally. You're not there. Time seems not to pass, and you look up and you say, "Hey, where'd the hours go?" Complete absorption in a task, especially true, like Trish had mentioned earlier, when involved in someone's creative abilities. Does anyone else? I know as people say, when they're working on music, when you're involved with composing music, how does that go for you, as far as being fully absorbed and timelessness? Do you feel some of the other things some people, maybe when it's a physical activity, feel like they have more strength, or they're more alert, or they have effortless control of their body? I know those I think those last three really kind of apply themselves, or show up a lot more when someone's doing something physical. I know, for me, like, I skateboarded a lot in college, so I'd like to ride my, it was like a longboard, and I would ride down parking garages at school. And like, it was a lot of fun, but I felt like I really had to be locked in if I wanted to be doing it, because it has the potential to be dangerous. But I kind of would have that heightened alertness. Seemingly effortless control. You kind of feel like you're maybe stronger or better than you'd normally be at something. It probably has a lot to do with your adrenaline levels, as you go through that. Has anyone felt some of these things? And if so, what was that like for you? Or when do you experience them? And again, feel free to raise your hand or type in the text box. Yours is effortless. You can just let go, right? So when you're writing, you can kind of it emerges. It's what it sounds like. So from what you were saying, you kind of experience your characters doing something, and you just follow along and write down what happens. And that's I mean, I think that is the gist of what you were getting at. And if so, that's pretty cool. It's nice to be able to just follow your imagination, or let your imagination run free, and just kind of taking notes on what's happening, and having that be the storytelling process. And that seems pretty cool to me. I know I sometimes can follow my imagination, but I feel like it maybe is not quite as exciting. Yeah, right. It's like you almost become another person. Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. Um, does anyone else have things they do that get them into what it sounds like are flow states? interesting, Patricia. You said it's great a lot of the time. Then again, they get themselves and me into trouble if I don't pay attention. Okay, yeah. So like the characters that you follow maybe will get themselves into a predicament, or is that like more of like for storytelling purposes? Like the story gets kind of into a they write themselves into a corner, or you mean they a situation they need to work themselves out of. And anyone else, feel free to jump in. Joe says sometimes when I'm running, I feel like I go forever. Awesome. Yeah, I know. I know. For me, sometimes I feel that way when I'm running. Sometimes I feel like I want it to end immediately. But I do know what you're talking about sometimes, especially when the weather's real nice and I am adequately hydrated and caffeinated. I feel like I can run forever. Yeah, absolutely. They call it the runner's high. Um, Definitely something that is there. I think for a lot of people who are involved in some sort of athletic thing they do, they you get the additional stamina or whatever it is that allows you to keep going. And Patricia, back to what you're saying. Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes they write themselves into a corner. They have to work themselves out. Plus, you lose track of time. Oh, and you get yourself into trouble at your house. Your house starts looking like it was hit by a tornado. Yeah, absolutely. So right, if you can spend potentially too much time in in a make believe land or whatever. Yeah, and right, you can neglect your responsibilities in a flow state. Yeah, absolutely. That's hopefully we can kind of use flow state as it's a double-edged sword, I guess, is what it really comes down to. I know for a lot of people, my brother is a programmer, so I know that for programming, getting into a flow state is amazing because you can get tons and tons of work done. You can breeze through it. I'm sure some people call it schizophrenia. Yeah, I think that is a different thing. I think that is probably when you don't want the make believe world and you're there anyway. Um, but Brad, like I was saying, if you can use a flow state to your advantage, and get work done. Patricia was joking. Yeah, no, I assumed as much. Um, if you can get yourself into a flow state and you're accomplishing your work in that time, it's amazing. It's fantastic. Sometimes, if I have a tasks that I'm really enjoying, work wise, I can get a lot more work done if I can kind of get them lumped into a flow state. Um, but right on the other end, there's extreme athletes who chase a flow state a little too far. Maybe they kind of push their limits, and it doesn't work out for them. So there could be, you could have an accident. You could neglect your obligations and responsibilities. So it's definitely it's a double-edged sword. It can be one of the best ways of getting things done and accomplishing, but it could also potentially could keep you from getting other things done. um, so we have a short video um, about DJ Focus. It's in the materials section. It's labeled DJ Focus. If you just click on that, we'll watch it, and I'll come back after it's done. Hey everybody, I think the majority of the video is done. If you're still watching it, you might want to pause it or come back to it later on. But it's a pretty interesting video. Kelvin's one of those people who it's really clear from watching the video that he really loves the work that he does. And that's kind of what I think everyone's doing here. We're all involved in something that we love doing. I'm sure each of you is doing something that you're into. Trish says, "Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention." It absolutely is. This guy likes, he's into communication, technology, being able to kind of share his skills and his knowledge with this community to make them better. And it's kind of clear, is the flow states that you enter when you're working on the thing that you love. So it's a lot of what we ask people to look at in this course. We're all here and we're all doing something. We're all in different programs. And I realize nobody came for psychology, although we're very happy that you're here. But you all have pretty extensive range of fields of study. And right, finding your flow state, finding what drives you, finding what keeps you coming back for more, is really what's going to make you successful in your industry. I'm gonna move on to this next one. It's actually I normally don't do back-to-back videos, but if you want to click on the Kid President, it's also in the materials. You can click on it, Kid President, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, I think that's just about winding up for everybody. It's a really fun video. It's cute. I think right at the end of the day, we want to look at what's driving us. What's driving us? What? Right. He's a pretty hilarious kid. You want to find out what drives you, right? What motivates you? What has you, get up in the morning and want to keep doing what you're doing? So much of life is just figuring out just that. Yeah, Sarah's he's got the funny lines in there. But it's tough, I think a lot of people, are they're doing something that, maybe they're just doing what they, I know for me that there were years especially when I was in school, where I had boring jobs. I worked in a warehouse. I didn't really like what I was doing. And then I, finished school and I started to get out there, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I can actually, I can go pursue the things that I like. And now I have a position where I enjoy what I do. I can kind of pursue my hobbies, more or less. I can spend time with my kids, and I really appreciate, having that freedom. So right, I would just say, while you're here, while you're in school, think about those things. Think about what it is that's driving you every day, making you get up. Hopefully everyone is in a program that is their goal, their dream. Yeah, Patricia, she laughs at a lot of things. For your humor is your emotion. Yeah. But right, I would encourage everybody to kind of, just kind of take a step back and say, hey, am I doing, is this the thing I love to do? Am I making a decision that I'm going to be happy with? I don't think every day is realistic, but more or less, on the whole, am I going to be happy with with where I'm going every day, with what I'm doing? Am I really pursuing my dreams and my life goals and ambitions? So yeah, just something to think about. And the question, what will be your Space Jam? Does anyone have things like that, like maybe something that that really inspired them? Live every day to the fullest, nap included. Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone want to share maybe like a project or something that they saw, maybe something related to your field that made you say, hey, I want to pursue this, and I want this to be my career? Kimber can't get a nap. Yeah, I hear you on that one. My small children keep me from napping. Right. What are the projects? Okay. Took a short online class today about blogging. Okay. And you feel like that was like kind of inspired you. What are the things maybe that made you want to pursue what it is that you're pursuing now, for careers, creative storytelling of video games, and what they can share with us? Awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of that. Is there one game in particular that really was like, boom, this is the game that made me say, hey, I want to change whatever I'm studying and study this? Yeah, sure. Feel free to share a link in there. I'd be happy to share that with your peers. That's awesome. You've been writing your whole life. Awesome. That's really cool. Joe went to Parliament Funkadelic concert and knew you wanted to do music. Yeah, that's super cool. That's totally awesome. Yeah. I'm sure that would be a really fun concert to go to. Destiny is the game that helped you decide that you want to do game art as professional. Okay, yeah. It's that's really cool. I didn't play Destiny, but I did meet a handful of the artists who were Full Sail grads. one time they were in town, they were visiting, and I met them, and yeah, no, it was super cool. So we watched a special video. You unlocked at the end of God of War game, talking about making it the game and how they had a transition from PS2 to PS3. It made you want to know how to make games. Yeah, that's amazing. That right, watching that, seeing how the behind the scenes, how the content gets developed. Hey, no worry about being late. It's totally fine. You can get caught up afterwards if you missed anything. All right. Well, oh, okay. I follow what you're saying. So I'm sorry, Patricia. Let's see. I don't think I can, but I would say, hey, if you guys want to go back and check that out later on, by all means. Definitely something to keep the conversation going outside of class, maybe on your discussion boards. Definitely not a bad thing to keep going after class. So that is the end of this. There are have to get my. It's not the end. We're not we're not leaving. I'm sorry. Don't do that. All right, we are just making the transition. Sorry if it's hard for anybody. Okay, can everyone see my screen now? It should say your brain on play. Yeah, it was a short no. We're not done. It's just the way that I have those set up are they're a little bit different. It's the presentations that I have are by topic, and so yeah, no, that portion of it is definitely a little bit shorter. So as we continue, we're going to talk about the brain and play. So what does, I'm sorry, Patricia, I was laughing. It says play with your brains. That made me laugh. So your brain on play. What does play do to our brains? What is neuroplasticity, and what forms of play are best for our brains? Does anyone want to take a guess, just kind of off the bat? What does play do to our brains? Anyone want to jump in? Helps it relax. Okay, sure. It grows. Okay, yeah, definitely. They grow. They create new neural pathways. Sure, that is a lot of what neuroplasticity is. Sharpens our cognitive functions. Yeah. It causes new synapses to form and allows us to evolve. Yes, absolutely. That is specifically under neuroplasticity. Okay, so we'll kind of go through play in the brain, neuroplasticity. We want to start with kind of parts of the brain. Your mom was a sign there. Okay. Freezes with eating ice cream. Brain freeze. Yes. I don't think it actually is our brain. I think it's like the top of our mouth, but I know what you mean. So there's different parts of the brain. So like the reptilian brain is the oldest kind of brain stem. The limbic system, which is the middle, works on emotions. And neocortex is the front brain, is the newest and highest level of thinking that occurs there. So there's a nice picture of a brain there, so you get the idea. The reptilian brain, or brainstem and cerebellum, they control balance, breathing, heart rate. Oh, Patricia, with the answer, it's a nerve. Sorry, this is the brain freeze. Back to brain freeze. It's a nerve that gets super cold and sends pain sensors to nerves generally located in the frontal lobe. All right, thank you for the scientific answer. Neocortex sounds like a supervillain name. It does. But again, okay, so the brainstem and cerebellum, it's kind of the oldest part of the brain. They call it the reptilian brain because it's right. It's what our basic function, what we basically need for functioning day to day. It's our balance, breathing, heart rate. Um, it's not quite an alien that will take over, but I like where you're going with that. So right, it's basically our oldest part of our brain that just kind of controls our general function, make sure that we can. It allows us to do living, keep us alive. But right, that's kind of the extent of it. Then we have the limbic system, which is our human rewards, emotions, memory, and value judgment. So, um, if, sometimes people might have a brain injury. That might cause them to kind of flux with their emotions are in flux, their memory is sometimes impaired, and their value judgments, they're not great necessarily, not in all cases, but they can lose the ability to make to kind of reason things out, make weighted decisions. um, so that's what that part of the brain does. And the neocortex is our consciousness, where we make judgments, how abstract thoughts are formed. It's kind of the idea of it's what makes us human. It also has four lobes, uh, and is the most recently developed part of the brain. So that's kind of why they say it's what makes us human or separates us from animals. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how those all work. Um, There's an interesting video. It says, "What can the rat tickler teach us about the benefits of play?" So we were talking about what the benefits of play are. Jump back into the materials section, and there is one called the rat tickler. Just click on that, and I'll come back after we're done. All right, so I think everybody's probably coming back. So right, the video kind of looks at some of the benefits of play, um, which is just pretty interesting when you think about um, you're born without a play filter. Yeah, no, I understand that. So right, so different types of play have different benefits, which is pretty interesting, and it's kind of what like what that video goes over is like some of the social skills that go along with play. Um, what what I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um, Different types of play have different benefits. So for the rats, you figure out the pecking order of the rats. You figure out how much can you kind of roughhouse with your neighbor before they get upset. And I think you look at play with people, and the same thing happens. I know kids do this. They do what's called boundary testing, where everyone did this to their parents at some point, I'm sure, where you keep on poking an issue, or you see how far outside the rules you can be, or you can how much flexibility there is there, and you kind of just keep testing it until you find the end. Some of the different types of play that we look at, like symbolic and pretend play, so make believe stuff. I'm sure everyone in here has some creative stuff, but when you have symbolic and pretend play, you end up with better language skills, better critical thinking, and interpersonal skills. So because you've had pretend exchanges, pretend interactions with other people, you end up developing those skills. When you it's a practice makes perfect thing. If you never interact with people, then you don't always know. Um, so right, that's definitely one of the advantages. I'm sure any of our creative writers have. I'm sure throughout the years you made believe, you did pretend, um, all sorts of things like that. Um, Trisha, I went so pretend. I definitely practiced till you're perfect. Um, yeah. Okay. Awesome. Looks like tattoos and facial piercing. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, so right. It's definitely important to have pretend play to make believe, especially for kids, because it develops their imagination and how they respond to the world around them. Divergent play, so kind of independent stuff, enhances creativity, problem solving skills, better academic performance. So that's definitely helpful. It's what a lot of people are looking for. Free play, so when there's no structure or imposed rules, so like a free play on the playground, um, it, it's definitely helpful. When you're going to engage in this type of play, or if you're going to send children out, it says 20 minutes in length. Kind of at least that much time to go out and play. I know that's one of the things a lot of people will complain about these days: school, and the lack of recess. But right, that 20 minutes gives you enough time to kind of reset. Going out, not having structure, not having to worry about what's coming next in a lecture, or what you need to be studying, but just having time to kind of reset your brain. Stretch your legs, move your arms, get out and kind of do something different. So neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to be shaped by our experiences, including play. It facilitates the embrace of new experiences, and it can be maladaptive or adaptive. There is a video called Neuroplasticity. If you want to just click on that, we'll watch it, and I will come back when we're done. Okay, so coming back from that, so neuroplasticity kind of is described as this. We have an experience that causes a change to occur in the brain, and then we make behavioral decisions based on that. So yeah, you kind of get some ideas, from watching it, the whole idea of the light bulb turning on. Yeah, because your brain is firing. You're developing new pathways as you go through. It's like you cut a new path into the woods of your brain, which is fun to think about. But right, you can kind of reshape how your brain works, and yeah, it is. It's a lot. 20% of your energy is a ton. It's really your brain's taking up a good portion of your body's energy every day. So we have this figure, which I hope can fit into my screen, but it's neural synapses, and it starts off on the left with a newborn. It's kind of almost a clean slate, and then at 1 month, 9 months, 2 years, and an adult, and it's synapse density over time, what your brain's actually done, what pathways it's carved out at each point, kind of along the way. So you can see, when you're young, you don't really have experiences. You don't really have any. You don't have any knowledge yet, so you don't really have a lot going on in your brain. You kind of have your general functions, how everything works. Then at a month, you're starting to kind of take in new stuff. At 9 months, you're learning pretty rapidly. At 2 years, you've kind of got a lot going on. And as an adult, it's a tangled web. You have a lot going on mentally, day in and day out. So kind of give you a visualization of you can see kind of as the adult, there's very, very well worn paths. So the things that we do every day, maybe the careers that we've taken, the tasks that we do that we can almost autopilot through, because we've worn the path so well. So the implications, I'm sorry. What forms of play are good for our brains? I'm sorry, I'm taking a minute to just kind of get caught up in the text box. Um, so what kind of play is good for our brain? That's a general, broad, open-ended question. Chess is one of those things that kind of people have studied. They look at it. Um, it says people who are over 75 who play brain stretching games like chess um, are less likely to develop dementia. So, I don't know if we have any chess players in the class, but right, it's one of those things where you have a lot of moves. There's spatial ideas. There's each piece. Right, it goes a different place. It moves a different way. And right, it kind of keeps your brain healthy and functional. And right, it's your brain is not quite like checkers, but it's similar in that it's a two-player game. You could probably find like a tutorial if you really wanted to learn a bit more about chess. But right, so chess is one of those things that use a really great workout for the brain. In addition to that, music. It's there. It's in your head. It changes your brain. Changes how you work. So each little part of the brain is kind of um, affected differently by music. So definitely something to kind of look into. If you're a musician, just a lover of music, it's good for the brain. So keep it up. And now I'm actually going to take a break. I'm going to come back in. I'll give everybody 10 minutes. So I have 2:58. So at 3:08 Eastern, I will come back and we will continue on with our next topic. Yep. So I'll see you all in 10 minutes. Hello everybody, I am back. I hope everybody can hear me and see my screen. We should be looking at positive psychology. Can everybody see that? Timber, to answer your question, I'm from Florida. So yes. Randy's from Arkansas. Yep, okay, cool. So on to the next topic, positive psychology. Hunter's from Tennessee. All right, cool. So there's a few different things that we'll talk about positive psychology. We have the challenge to the field of psychology's disease model. That's one of the big things that positive psychology does. We'll look at a couple of the faces behind positive psychology, and we will explore happiness, gratitude, and the PERMA model, which is lots of fun. So history of psychology in the USA before World War II. It was kind of a, let's cure mental illness. Let's make the lives of people more productive and fulfilling, and let's identify and nurture high talent. So people wanted to, they treated mental illness a little bit differently than we do now. The change kind of occurred in the founding of the Veterans Affairs Administration. Lots and lots of people in psychology came on the field. They realized they could make a living treating mental illness. Eventually, the National Institute of Mental Health was founded, and academics found they could get grants to do research about psychology and pathology. Right. Patricia was saying lobotomy. Yeah, back in the old days, it was pretty rudimentary. There was a lot of, lobotomy, electroshock therapy. They really, they weren't great at figuring out what was causing people to have issues. And they were just figuring out what would kind of keep them calm, keep them docile. So, people who were heavily sedated, it wasn't it wasn't a great way of doing business. That's what I'll say about it. It could at times was kind of brutal. So if you, if you want to look into the history of that, feel free to check that out. But it was not great in the olden days. As we move forward, there were big strides in understanding therapy and mental health. Disorders became more manageable, and new treatments were identified and developed. Psychology kind of became a field of victimology. They kind of looked at people as victims of the psychological ailments that they had. Practitioners who were treating mental illness we're kind of treating within disease framework and trying to repair the damage. So damaged habits, damaged drives, childhoods, brains. They weren't really looking at prevention methods. They were just kind of saying, okay, well, here you are in this situation, and what can we do about it now? Instead of looking for ways to prevent or actually reverse the effects of things that had happened. With the birth of positive psychology, kind of came a new avenue. The who's who of positive psychology. There's two people. Martin Seligman. Here's a picture of him. He's kind of the father of positive psychology, along with Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, which is this gentleman whose last name I had to spell it out like that because it's a little I can't pronounce it without the how to pronounce it explanation for me there. But these two gentlemen, came up with the field of positive psychology, and the idea is that it's not the study of pathology, weakness, damage. It's the study of strength. So looking at what what's good about people. It's looking for the best in people. What is and what it is, right? It looks for what's good in people. So people want to lead meaningful, fulfilling lives, to cultivate the best experience, or to create the best within themselves, and to enhance their experiences of love, work, and play. Treatment is not fixing what is broken, but is nurturing what's best. And psychology is not a branch of medicine concerned with illness or health. This is much larger. It's about work, education, insight, love, growth, and play. So it kind of just takes psychology out of just the medical field and kind of steps away from the medical side of things, medical treatments, and starts looking at, okay, well, we've already, people have spent a lot of time figuring out what doesn't work and what's broken. Now, what does work, what is good, what's positive about people. So positive psychology is not based on wishful thinking or fads. It really tries to adapt the best aspects of the scientific method with human problems. How human behavior presents for those who wish to understand it, in its complexities. So it's a blend of the medical and the science side with being helpful to people. Don't worry if people have to go, they have to go. Trish says, what is broken leads to a fork in the road. You choose a new path, hope for the best, look for best outcomes. Yeah, so there's a lot of, there's what science can do for us, which is fantastic and great. Above and beyond that, looking at what is working, encouraging what's good instead of discouraging what's bad. So kind of a few different things that occur. It says the field of psychology is not just the study of pathology. I just read through these out. So character strengths. I think everyone probably has a link to the character strength survey. So I don't necessarily do it now. But if you do at some point, it's a pretty interesting thing to kind of look at, what character strengths we possess, what's strong, what's positive, what's what we really have going for us, and what works best in our lives. Some of the things that are up there, courage, interpersonal skills, perseverance, future-mindedness, ability to think ahead, optimism, work ethic, wisdom, honesty, faith, insight, and hope. If anyone, if you have some free time, I'd encourage you to kind of check it out, the character strengths assessment, and see kind of what you have. I think it gives you like a top three, like these are our three main strengths. Off the top of my head, I've taken it. I can't remember what my top three were, but I found it pretty helpful, and it's nice. It's telling. Patricia says positive reinforcement has shown much better results than its counterpart. Absolutely. She's just a friend. I was afraid to pee outside because negative enforcements replaced fire. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the old saying: you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. When we look at what's good, and instead of what's bad, we can encourage the good behaviors, while not reinforcing bad ones. And that's a lot of what positive psychology looks at, is how to focus on what's good. I think if you go to anyone and you start a conversation, you say, I want to talk about all the things that I don't like about you, or all the things that aren't working. People aren't going to be real excited about that. But if you go to the same person and you present it in the other way, and you say, hey, I want to talk about things you're doing great. If you've ever been into a review with a boss, and they said, hey, I think you're fantastic. You're doing these things really well, blah, blah, blah. They go on and they basically, praise you for what you've done well. It's a lot easier to hear, the couple of things that you need improvement on, as opposed to, just, someone coming in and saying everything's wrong with you and here's all the things that are bad. So kind of what positive psychology looks at. So, right, its message, we're not all bad. Money and happiness. That's kind of an interesting question. Anyone have any thoughts on money and whether or not it equals happiness or equates to happiness? Money's not happiness. Okay. If you pay your bills, you're happy. Okay. Root of all evil. Okay. Sure. It's kind of kind of a broad spectrum. So happiness, if you can raise somebody's level of positivity in the present, you can then change somebody's happiness advantage. A positive brain performs better than neutral or stressed and is 37% more productive. I'm talking money makes the world go round. You can buy stuff and that makes you happy, but happiness can produce from a lot of things. Whoever said money isn't happiness hasn't seen someone on a ski-doo. Okay, yeah. So there's definitely on that topic of money and happiness. It's a watercraft, to answer your question, a ski-doo. It's like a jet ski. I think that's what we're referring to. But there's a lot of things that came up in that other things that make people happy. The statement here at the bottom, creativity improves intelligence, performance, etc. It's happiness can come from kind of a lot of places. The gist of what people have found is that money works up to a certain level. I think it tops out at right around $70,000. So, like, if you're making above $70,000 a year, more money won't make you happier because it doesn't really allow you the freedom at a certain point. But up to that point, apparently, from what I've read and I've seen, I think it allows you a little bit more freedom, and therefore can be considered something that makes you happier. So 90% of long-term happiness is predicted by how our brains process the world. So a lot of it is just how we view things in the world. How we're viewing the world, how we check things out, how we see everything. That is essentially, kind of how happiness works. Patricia says we should all practice a random act of kindness. I totally agree. I think doing something nice for other people, holding a door, smiling at people, all that kind of stuff can really go a long way, and it can do a lot for you, the person doing it, but it can also do a lot for the person who's having it done to them, who's receiving it. Definitely. So right back with this again, perception, how we view the world. People say things like 10% of the world is what happens, and 90% of it is how you respond to it. So, I can wake up every day and I can say, hey, I'm grateful I have a job and I have a family, and I can go to my job so I can provide for my family, and I have these great opportunities. Or I can get up and say, oh, I got to go slave away today, and then I'm going to give all my money to my family to take care of them. And one of those is has me feeling empowered and positive about going to work, and one of them has me feel like I'm locked into some terrible thing that I can never get out of. But so much of it, right, is just how I process the world around me, how I think about it, what my perception is. So I'm a big believer in happiness and perception being very closely linked. Is how we view the world, and is how we respond to it around us. Um, the PERM model is one of the things that I think is pretty useful. So it's an acronym. It's positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So the positive emotions are an essential part of our well-being. Happy people tend to look back at the past with gladness, look to the future with hope, and enjoy and cherish the present. I think that right there, is when we have positive emotions, when we're positive, when we feel positive, when we're being positive people. It really, positivity can go a long way. Patricia says, whether I get a scowl or a dirty look or a thank you, I wave, nod, hug, share love, share and love fully. Even if I don't particularly like them, I still share kindness and love. I think that's a great plan. That's awesome. It's you don't see enough of that in the world. But right, I think there's definitely something to be said about being a positive force. It goes a long way, whether or not we're seeing it or not. Treat people how you want to be treated, Randy says, definitely. Engagement, huge part of fulfillment in life. When we focus on doing things we truly enjoy and care about, we can begin to engage completely with the present moment and enter into a state of being known as flow, which we talked about already. Be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah, absolutely. So being present in the moment. I was at a concert about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I was seeing this band, and they got on stage, and before they started playing, they just said, "Hey, everybody, do us a favor. Put down your phones, put down your cameras, stop trying to, take this, capture it, save it for another time, and just be with us and experience this and engage in what's going on." And it was really a powerful thing, to just kind of see people put their phones down, and people like the band, so they're like, okay, we'll go along with this. And just kind of go with the flow and say, hey, you know what? Okay, I wanna go, and I wanna have an experience with this group, with these people. It was not Aerosmith or the Eagles. It was Neutral Milk Hotel, was the band. But it was nice to just be able to engage and not worry about I'm not a huge picture taker or video taker, but it was nice to just kind of feel like, what, I can just sit here and enjoy this band. And it was also nice to not see a million people with their phones up. And it's amazing, when we think about how much of the world we're missing because we're experiencing it on a 4.5, 5-inch screen. We're just looking at everything through our screen, and we're sometimes missing the world around us. So being engaged in the present is super important. I think it's one of the things that I know I don't do as often as I like. I know I have small children, and sometimes I'll be sitting on the couch, rocking somebody and playing a game on my phone, and I'm like, these kids are only going to have this experience once. These kids are only going to be little one time. I should put my phone down and play with them. So that's my engagement piece. Relationships. So everybody, people need people. Is the easiest way to say it. Everyone needs someone. We enhance our well-being. We share it with others. We build strong relationships with people around us, family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, community building. I think that's a huge thing. I think that everyone, I like to think that, I don't need people, or I could get by on my own. But in reality, the community around me are the people who I really, I enjoy spending my time with them. I enjoy spending my time with, like with my wife, with my kids. I like my coworkers a lot. I like to go out and do things with them. Um, Relationships with people are, they're a lot of times what make doing, what we do a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun for me to go to work when I have friends and I, kind of know what I can expect out of them. I get excited, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen my friends in a while. I'm really excited about going to work today. So build relationships with your classmates, with, with your friends, with your instructors, with people around you who are working in your industry. Meaning. So, um, we're at our best when we decide, when we dedicate time to something greater than ourselves. This might be like a religious faith, community work, family, politics, charity, professional or creative goal. Um, it can be anything, I think that, if we're working for a goal that's larger than ourselves, larger than what we, what I want for me, I think that's a really powerful thing. It's pretty amazing, if we can work on, a big joint task. I've been working on a project here at Full Sail, with some of my peers, and it's something that, I never would have been able to complete on my own, and I was able to take on a small part of it. But it's really nice. It's nice to be part of something bigger, whatever that looks like. And it doesn't have to be any of the things that we listed here, but if there's something that you feel gives you meaning in life, that you can engage in, it's definitely, it's a nice way to engage with the world, and to write, to get out of bed, to feel like what the work that you're doing is important. And accomplishments. Everybody needs to win sometimes. To achieve well-being and happiness, we have to be able to look back on our lives with a sense of accomplishment. I did it. I did it well. So, being able to see that, being able to, look at, the things that we set out to achieve and that we achieved. I know for a lot of people, that's, it's finishing school. It's your first big project. It's, it could be final projects for a lot of people. There's all sorts of different things that could fall into that category. So right, look for those accomplishments and celebrate them. When you achieve, acknowledge it. Say, hey, you know what? I achieved today. I did something awesome. I'm really happy with, with what came to pass as a result of this. Beating a game, yeah, that can totally, yeah, that can definitely be, an accomplishment. There's definitely there's definitely some games I spent a lot of time on, and I felt accomplished when I beat them. So yeah, no, definitely, it can be whatever it is. It's an accomplishment doesn't have to be, you don't have to get, everyone to agree that, oh, this is the best thing. Yeah, get a 4.0 GPA. Yeah, that's it's tough to do, but if you can do it, that's an accomplishment. Getting through school, getting through each class is an accomplishment that really should be celebrated. There's a lot of work that goes into these. I realize it because I sit and I grade a lot of the work, and I know, it's not easy. There's a lot that goes into it each month. So how can we increase our happiness? Change your perspective. Focus on the positive. Give the gift of time. Random acts of kindness. Funny things. Um, Gratitude writing, either a letter, a journal, um, volunteering, practicing your strongest trait each day, and engaging in flow. So kind of just a lot of different things that, when we look at, and we don't have to do all of these, but find the ones that work for you. That's really what I'd encourage everyone to do. Figure out what it is that works best for you. Patricia's says, clear the shelters. I'm getting a new forever friend. Looking at an animal. Yeah. Yeah, if that's something you can do and you want to, yeah, by all means. Find something that's meaningful and important to you that brings happiness and joy into your life, and do those things. It really goes a long way, and it's worth doing. Practicing gratitude. We're wired to give more weight to negative experiences rather than positive ones. Gratitude overrides that natural instinct. So when you can say, I know people always talk about this in terms of like reviews on places. People are like, oh, you're more likely to tell somebody you had a bad experience than a good experience. Share the good experiences that you have. I know I'd much rather take a suggestion from somebody. If somebody says, oh, I went to this restaurant and it was great, I want to get on board with that so much more than, when someone says, oh, I went to this restaurant and it was mediocre, it wasn't that good. I don't really, I maybe will take that suggestion and say, okay, well, I won't go there. But I would way, way rather, take somebody who says, oh, I went to this place and it was phenomenal. That's something I want to get on board with. I want to be on board and in alignment with people who are positive. When people, have stuff and they to share, and they can say, hey, I had this great experience. I'm doing these great things. Here are awesome things that I have in my life that I want to share with other people. That's something that I get turned on. I say, hey, yeah, it looks like you're having a great time with that. I want to be a part of that. I really, I enjoy my hobbies a lot. I love it when I can share them with other people. I collect, rare fruit trees. So it's kind of a weird, it's a weird hobby. Not a lot of people are that interested, but I find people who are interested. I share that with them, and it really, it's a lot of fun for me. And people who even maybe aren't as interested in rare fruit trees will listen because they can tell. Like, yeah, this guy's really interested in this. He's got a lot of great stuff to say. Raina says you collect chess pieces. Yeah, sure. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone's definitely got their own thing. But right, being gratitude, practicing gratitude in your life, kind of day in, day out, it really goes pretty far. So definitely worth, looking at, and thinking about how you can be more grateful on a daily basis. On that topic, grateful people are generally happier, less depressed, less stressed out, more satisfied with their relationships, more satisfied with life, tend to have a sense of purpose. They have better coping skills, strong support, and less trouble sleeping. Yeah, absolutely. Those are all great things. So, if you needed more reasons to practice gratitude, there they are. So right, a gratitude tip. Next time you pay a bill, write something positive down that the server, the service or product has helped you accomplish by using it. It'll teach you to shift your focus from money being taken to the value you are receiving. And that makes a lot of sense, those exchanges that we have with people are pretty awesome. It's nice when we can just say, hey, you know what, I'm happy about what's going on. It's definitely worthwhile to share your gratitude, to think about it from that way. I know for me, there's a lot of times when I've gone to someone I bought something from. I have a wallet that I really like. And the maker is a small shop on Etsy, and I went to them, and I've gone back and done business with them a lot of times. But they made an amazing product, and I've praised them for it. I've sent the messages like, "Hey, this is great. I really appreciate this product that you made. It's fantastic." Because you can do business with them, which is their whole thing. But it's really nice to be able to share that gratitude. And for me, right, I think hey, this is like there's a lot of value and quality in this, and it's something that I'm happy to continue to um, to keep it up. So um, yeah, that's my piece on that. So does anyone have any questions? That's the end of this presentation. Okay. Well, if you don't have questions, you're free to go. If you do have questions, you can ask them, you can email, you can hang out and ask me in the chat box, whatever makes you happy. But we are done for the day. That's all I have to talk about. Thanks for everybody for being here. Everyone was great in class. You're all participating well. I appreciate it. It makes it a lot more fun for me to do class with an active group. Thanks. Yeah, everybody have a great day. Thank you.